Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel, and today's video was inspired by the question that I get most on all of my videos, collectively, for the past however long, since my sister-in-law gave me this keyboard, okay? It is clicky clacky and excellent, and that is the question that I get most, is where did I get this keyboard? Now, I've not had this linked in my videos, so really, like, this is on me. But I figured I would go over writerly gifts that you can get yourself, or writerly gifts that you can get your writer friends. And just go through not only my writing tools, both like physical tools and also on my computer tools, software tools, but also like author tube tools. Yes, 'tis the buying season, and if you're looking for stuff like this, it really is usually the best time to get it. So let's discuss. I got a list. But very selfishly, first, I would actually like to ask for recommendations. I'm currently using an old chair that I bought from Target ages ago, and actually the back of it completely fell off. It is not super comfy, especially for like hours spent at the computer screen, and I'm now over 30 and I am feeling it. So if you have any comfy chair recommendations, I would absolutely love them. If they're gamer chairs, potentially even better. Really, I just need something that like allows me to hunker, but also allows, I like to sit cross-legged. So if you have any recommendations, I would love to hear them, and apparently so would Buffy. All right, now let's get to it. First things first. This keyboard is a U-Body keyboard. It is battery powered and like incredibly easy to, single battery, incredibly easy to use. It also comes with a very cute little mouse. You can move around, so if I wanted to sit on the couch and type, could totally do that. Battery in here too. And I have the little, the dingle hopper plugged into my docking system, but if you just wanted to plug it directly into your laptop, you could do that too. Anyways, cannot recommend this enough. It is so fun, so pretty, so cute. The sounds, I mean, those clicky clackies, they really encourage you to keep going, you know? So yes, the only criticism I have, and to be fair, I spend a whole lot of time typing, is that you can see some of the letters have rubbed off, but my cat also likes to get up and sit on the keyboard and who knows what to it, so anyways, I'm gonna blame Finn. The keyboard is about $40 over on Amazon. I believe that's where my sister-in-law got it from, and there is such a range of colors, so if you're not a purple girly, there's green, there's blue, there's like a pinky peach, bright yellow, some black reds, really something for everyone. Yes. Now, once I have my keyboard set up, I need to put my laptop down on a little mount. I believe I also got this off of Amazon. It just makes it like just the right height. I'm trying to get better about being healthy and sitting up straight and not hunching so much. And so while I'm at my desk, I just need something that will elevate it. I have in the past used things like textbooks. I've gotten creative with Kleenex boxes. You know, there's a lot of things you can do that you don't necessarily need, but it was a very cheap stand. It sits it up nicely, gives you some space underneath. Cannot recommend it enough. It serves its purpose well. Thank you. And finally, since we're in like a health management phase, I got this nice sort of cool to the touch wrist rest that is incredible, especially as the keyboard, any keyboard really, is elevated. So it's just like, it's a bad angle, and I'm learning to take care of my wrists. Is this whole video just gonna be me complaining about my health? Anyways, taking care of your wrists, very important, very helpful. And honestly, when I'm editing video on iMovie, I actually move the wrist rest over so that I can rest my elbow on it. It is not the best posture, so it sort of defeats the purpose of being healthy, but it is much more comfy. I also cannot recommend this wrist brace enough. I'm actually going to get, this is the left-hand version, because that's what had been bothering me, but I'm actually about to get the right-hand version too. It has a pretty impressive like form to it, like it's a durable sort of thing. It's very comfy. I actually watched a video on a guy who seemed like he was an expert at wrist braces. He was very sweet and enthusiastic about him, and so he really sold me on this one, and so that's what I'm going to buy. I shall buy another for my other wrist. If we pivot sort of directly left and right, we can see that I have 2 monitors. So I have a 3 screen setup and I absolutely adore it. I don't think 3 screens is necessary. But I will say that I got used to having that many when I was working corporate, at least having one additional one. And with streaming, it is so helpful to have the project up, the timer somewhere, and like the streaming software going where I can see the comments. And so it's just nice to have all of them. I am frankly not an expert with monitors, so I will see if my partner has any recommendations, but I will link the ones that I'm using down below. The one thing that I've done to sort of help shield my eyes is turn up the warmth. Both of those had really great adaptability in that regard. In fact, everything that I own now is totally warm, and it was so funny because I love my nail polish and I now have to either switch my settings or I ask my partner to borrow his phone to look at the color scheme because sometimes, you know, blues read a little bit purple and oranges seem a little bit pink reddish. I also bought this monitor stand for about $30 that I really love. I'm actually thinking about buying another one for the other monitor and lifting that up. Once again, just keeping the neck better. My favorite thing about it is actually the storage space. So I have all of my Oracle cards in a section. I also have my wrist brace and all of the like random cords that I need, either for my computer or my camera. Immediately available. I also have a section for my dice, the Tingley Skull dice and the D100 that I can store and just kind of like pull out and move really easily. Even though I have a giant desk, somehow, I don't know if it's like a, what is that law? Where it's like, stuff will find a way to fill the space. So if you get a bigger space, there's just more stuff to be filled. I have quite a lot of stuff on my desk. I like it that way, but also I like to have the illusion of organization. So anyways, I think a second one would be really nice. I think I'm gonna do it. I will also link the Oracle cards and all of the fun stuff down below as well. It will all be linked. Now, if I turn a little bit to the right, I have a section that is within reach that has some writing craft books. Some of them are my like top favorites, and then also the ones that I'm like currently reading and using. And on that, I prop up the writer's clock that Lindsay fucking got me for the NaNoWriMo gift exchange. It was so incredibly sweet of her. I actually found this on a website called Zazzle, which is dangerous because I'd not heard of it before, and also found a lot of really nice things. It seems kind of similar to an Etsy-esque, but maybe like for more small businesses, maybe a little bit like Redbubble. But the Women Fiction Writers Association is on there and they are still selling these. And as of right now, it looks like they're on sale. Really easy, just a battery. There might have been a back to this that fell off at one point. I cannot remember what I did. You can also hang it up if you want, but I frankly like it sort of in the eye line and also just propped up on some of my favorite writing craft books. Now, I've done videos on a lot of these before, either using them for a stretch of time or reading them, but I cannot recommend Romancing the Beat enough. It is a very small, thin book, but it is incredible if you're writing romance or if you want to write romance as like a subplot and make sure that your romance is giving what it needs to give. Yes. Another small book, but with very excellent exercises throughout, is Steering the Craft by Ursula K. Le Guin. Save the Cat Writes a Novel. Classic. I do like it. I enjoy having a formula. What extent I use the formula to is a different question, but I always find it helpful to reread. And finally, I got this recommendation from my good friend Becca C. Smith. She talks about it on her channel. It is Sid Field's screenplay, The Foundations of Screenwriting. As you can see, I have underlined things and starred stuff. And I really enjoyed it as someone who's like a complete beginner in the regards of screenwriting. It makes it incredibly easy to understand and also sort of understand, I think, the difference in storytelling through this sort of medium compared to, say, novel writing. I also think it's interesting that these are all more or less the same color or in the same color scheme. So it just makes it nice all together. Another friend also got me this perpetual calendar that is Darth Vader. I love this so much. It makes me so happy to the extent that I now wish to give other people perpetual calendars. I also love the like calendar in a year things, which you can find a lot of different varieties of on the Etsy, Redbubble, Zazzle of it all that are writerly focused if that's how you want it, but If I find the Darth one, I will let you know. Okay, and while there are a lot of other random things I have on my desk that I do use, I don't have a particular calling to them necessarily. I like to play around with different sorts of pens, so if you have any recommendations for those, like pens that you love, like they glide, they're so smooth, they'll somehow make my handwriting better. I would love recommendations for them. I like trying a bunch. Much as the curse for all writers and readers, I assume, is that I have a bunch of different stationery, a lot of different notebooks. I love them all. The only other one I'm going to mention, because I quite literally just ordered myself another one of these, I have 2 of them. I filled in completely. They are the only journals I've ever filled in, and it's a gift, like me. Are these Lemon notebooks. They're dotted and they do have little tabs that they come with if you're a fan of tabs. I don't use them, but something about the way they feel in my hand, the size is easy to sneak into my backpack or purses, and like they can get beat up easier than some of my other notebooks. Like they're sturdy and I just adore them. So I will leave that linked down below as well. I also have a little gamer mat that was a hand-me-down. Actually, a lot of the stuff I have on my desk is a hand-me-down from my partner who's in the tech world. And I never used one before, but I do really enjoy it. Also, my cat really enjoys it. Makes things easier. Don't have to have an individual mouse pad. Stuff doesn't move around as much. Yes. Is this the thing everyone else knew about but me? I think also yes. I also went to Barnes & Noble and spotted what I think were similar sort of quills to what I bought. I'm sure if you're more into calligraphy and have like much better penmanship than me, like you'll know more about what makes a good quill, what like ink to use and all sorts of stuff. I will leave linked down below the one I got. It is very fun, very great for a beginner. It just makes me feel special getting to use a quill to write. I do have the issue of it still sometimes bleeding, but once again, that might be more user error. If you've been wanting to like try something out that's just sort of silly and fun, would recommend. Similarly, I just bought myself a lava lamp from Target for $20 because I never had one as a kid and I always wanted one, and it is giving me everything I hoped it would give. It makes me so happy in a way that like things should not make you this happy. Like somewhere in this lizard brain, I know that shiny, pretty, colorful things like should not bring me this much joy. And yet that lizard brain says you're wrong. So let's go ahead and move to what is on my computer, the actual software aspect. I would definitely recommend looking up Notion for free. Lots of tips and tricks online for stuff that you can use. I'm actually using Notion right now to like list stuff out for me. Sometimes I'll use Scrivener for that purpose. I love Scrivener. Scrivener will have a coupon that you can get a percentage off for either completing Nano or winning Nano, and if you know someone who already has it, you can also ask to borrow their code if you did not complete Nano or win Nano. Last year I remember Zara Hoffman put together a whole thing so that people could share their coupon codes. I don't know if she's doing that again this year, but I will leave stuff linked down below. Scrivener I particularly enjoy using, but I also use Google Docs for a lot of my co-writing needs, and I am a big fan of Campfire for serialized projects and also for co-written projects like with my brother. Aeon Timeline is a resource that I used way back when I got a new computer and I didn't have it for a while, and now I'm back to using it again. I will eventually have like a, not a tutorial, but like a how I use it sort of thing in the future, but I really love Aeon Timeline. I'm someone who's really bad about timelines, and though Scrivener, Notion, and Campfire all have the capabilities of coming up with timelines. Like you could also make one in Google Sheets or whatever numbers, Excel, depending on what you have. Like you could definitely use those, but for me, Aeon Timeline is the one that just like makes sense with my brain best. Finally, I'd recommend signing up for Jade Friedman's free newsletter. She has a lot of incredible resources, but I also am finally paying for the Hot Sheet, which is her paid newsletter where she analyzes the publishing market, makes it really easy to understand, shares numbers, a whole bunch of things. Cannot recommend it enough. Also, if you reach out and you ask for like previous editions, they will send them to you, which was incredible. I did that and like got an almost immediate response. It was so nice, and it's like every 2 weeks. I just like reading them. It is a great way to keep up with things and sort of a curated the most important news and also takes on it. Anyways, yes, would recommend. Now finally, let's go ahead and pivot to the other tube stuff that I use. I will link my camera down below. I use the Canon EOS Rebel SL2, and I think I have the 18 to 55 millimeter lens. I don't know a whole lot about cameras, but I found it incredibly easy to use, and it is the one that I started using and have been using the whole time for vlogs and stuff like that too. It's a little chunky, I can admit. But I don't mind holding it up. And I just now got a ring light for the first time in ever. After my patrons and Twitch friends recommended I actually get one. It's beautiful. It's great. It now makes it much easier to film at whatever angle I want or need, and also I don't have to be dependent on the sunlight or lack thereof. It is quite raining outside right now, actually. Warmer, cooler, and then we can do different colors and up the brightness. Whoa. It also comes with a fancy stand, so now I actually have a whole bunch of different stands and tripods for things. And it was only $30, so it was a $30 well spent for me and my frustrations. If you've been doing AuthorTube for any amount of time, you probably already have one. I know a lot of people got them for like Zoom meetings and stuff during the pandemic. I was just a little bit late on the game. I also used to take a desk lamp and I would aim it at my wall, so I would get it kind of like a nice filtered light. So there's definitely things you can do to work around it, but this is just, it's easier, and for $30 it was frankly beyond time for me to go ahead and do it. I also have a mini GorillaPod that I used to use a lot. It now doesn't like stick quite as well, but I've had it for, I want to say 4 years. There might be a way to like grease it up again. I don't entirely know, but I really love it to get sort of any angle that I want, rather than relying on like a bigger tripod and having to sort of play around with the legs. If we're talking about ease of use, would recommend for sure. I do also often use my iPhone camera, which is frankly like good enough for almost anything that you want to do. I used my old Samsung phone when I first started AuthorTube. I think I used it for like a year or so, and I used to tape it up to a box of tissues off of books. So like I had a whole, again, really these textbooks and these tissue boxes have really come in clutch for me. So I would never let not having the right equipment stop you from starting vlogging. If that's what you want to do, especially if you're like watching everyone's nano vlogs and you're like, oh my god, I want to do that next year, or I want to do that for camp, or I want to do that for NaNoWriMo. You know, I don't let that stop you. If you have a phone on your camera, it is most likely more than good enough to film any sort of AuthorTube specific video. But I also have a little Osmo Pocket. I have a GoPro, and I really enjoy using those to get sort of wider angles that the current lens that I have for my Canon doesn't allow. But again, absolutely not something that you need. You do this long enough, you just start to like cameras. I also do not use a microphone. The one that's built into the Canon I think is good enough, but I would love recommendations for microphones. I have one that I used when I was doing my podcast, which hopefully I'll start back up again soon, now that I'm able to be at my screen for a little bit longer, but it's not a particularly good one. So yes, I will take any and all recommendations for that, or if you're like, Kate, I've been meaning to tell you that you should probably use a microphone on your videos. You need to up that audio. I would love to hear it. But I think that's it. Yes, hopefully. Please do comment down below. Let me know if there are any writerly gifts that you have been looking forward to getting yourself or gifting to a friend. Please do recommend me a comfortable desk chair, a microphone, or any other sort of like little knick-knack, since I will probably be having more space on my desk soon. But that is going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you especially to some of my new patrons this month. Jimmy Hamill, Kaylee Mitz, Joshua Michael Stevens, K&E Southworth, Veronica, Luis Mora, Chai, Michelle Mahan, Michelle Lee, and King Peach. And I will see you all very soon with a new video. Bye!